What does it mean to be poor in spirit? Hey guys, it's me again, Douglas, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the Beatitudes. Yeah, well, we're just going to focus on one specifically, but I did want to give an explanation on what the Beatitudes are. Because see, in the Bible, in the book of Matthew, there's this section called the Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus took his disciples and he preached a sermon to them. And there's this section, actually it's the beginning section of the Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus says these 8 different kinds of people that most folks would think were really unfortunate. But Jesus says that they are blessed. And so in the first beatitude, the first blessing, the one we're going to be talking about today, Jesus says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Now that idea of being poor in spirit, saying poor in spirit is not something that I usually, sneak into my daily conversations. That's not something that I hear a lot. I feel like I've heard it in church, but I didn't really understand what they were saying. And one of the translations of the Bible, it says, "Blessed are the spiritually needy." Instead of saying poor in spirit, they say spiritually needy, which is, pretty much the same thing. But it kind of helps me to understand what Jesus was getting at a little bit here. Because see, in all of these Beatitudes, Jesus is pretty much talking about the real way to be happy. Because see, in these Beatitudes, he's talking about 8 different kinds of people who seem unfortunate. They seem like they should be very unhappy. People that you would think are not very blessed. But Jesus says that is the way to true happiness. Those people are blessed. Now for me, I really hate being needy. I want to be self-sufficient. I heard somebody say that the other day. Self-sufficient. That's like a big word, but it means do things on your own. You don't need help from anybody. And I feel like a lot of people would say that is a virtue. That's something that is a very good, important thing to be, is self-sufficient, not needing help from anyone. There was this one time, there was this carnival in town, and I don't know if you've ever seen a carnival, but they've got these big rides, like a Ferris wheel, and they've got these games, where you can win prizes. And my friends and I, we were all going to go to this carnival, and I knew it was going to cost some money, but I had no idea how much money it was going to cost to do this carnival. Because not only do you have to pay to get into the carnival, but then you got to pay for every single ride. I don't know if all carnivals are this way, but the carnival we went to was. So, you had to pay to get in, which it was more than I thought it was going to be. And all of the money that I brought to go spend at the carnival, I had to spend just to get in the door. And then once I was there, everything to do, all the fun stuff cost money, and I didn't have any more money. And so if I wanted to do any of this stuff with my friends, I needed them to pay for me, which was really embarrassing. I didn't want them to pay for me, but either they were going to pay for me to go on these rides with them, or I just wasn't going to get to go on any rides with them, or play any games, or really do any of the fun stuff at the carnival. Now, they were happy to help, but I still didn't like that feeling of needing somebody else, that feeling of being needy. Now, the truth is that we are all spiritually needy, right? We all need God. But I think for a lot of people, that feeling of being needy, that feeling of needing someone else, that feeling of being, spiritually poor is uncomfortable. We don't like that feeling. We want to be able to do everything on our own. We want to be self-sufficient, but we all need God. And so if you aren't spiritually poor, if you aren't spiritually needy, if you aren't the poor in spirit, then you're trying to pretend that you don't need God. And that might make you feel a little bit better for a little while, but that's not the way to true happiness. Jesus says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." And then the part where it says, "For theirs is the kingdom of heaven," that's kind of tricky too, because when we're talking about the kingdom of heaven, we're not talking about like a castle that belongs to God. No, they're talking about like the reign or the authority of God. So it would be a little bit like if my dad owned the carnival, right? If my dad owned the carnival, it wouldn't matter if I didn't have any money. I could still go on all the rides. I could still play all the games because they'd be like, "Oh, that's the owner's kid." And so if we accept the fact that we are needy, that we are spiritually poor, if we recognize that fact and we accept that we need God, that's the path to true happiness. That's the kind of person who is blessed. So that's my challenge to you guys today, is that you would recognize your spiritual neediness. Recognize that you are poor in spirit. Recognize that you need God. Because if you do, the whole world will open up to you. The path to true happiness is not by pretending that you've got it all together. Because when you truly accept that you need God, then yours is the kingdom of heaven. Hey guys, I hope you liked this video. And hey, I'm so excited to start in on this new series with all the Beatitudes. I'm super excited. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's really, really important stuff. Yeah. So hey, in the comment section, I want to hear from you guys about, today's beatitude, talking about being spiritually needy. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear an example of a time where you needed someone's help. Maybe you didn't want any help, but you really needed someone's help, and someone came in and they helped you out. Because now every time that happens to me, I remember this beatitude. I remember that I need God, and that recognizing that need for God is the way to be truly blessed. Hope to hear from you guys in the comments.